This is how, not only how you manifest things more effortlessly, this is how you tap into that creativity and fluidity. This is where healing, like actual physical healing of the body, takes place. This is where you get more energy, have more energy, long sustaining energy. This is where you get inspired and motivated, right? The peak state, like the way that I would describe it is the way that you feel just before you're about to receive something great. What if you could wake up every single morning knowing that you are about to receive something great? I'm telling you guys, it's available and it's happening. It's happening to me here with all of you precious souls, right? Every time I come on here, I come on a peak state. And it's not just because I have this type of personality, it's because it's intentional. Actually, I was so exhausted earlier today, I took an hour nap. I was like, holy shit, I get to take a nap? I got up at like 4:30 or something, like, well, 4:30 my time is 5:30, 5:18 now. But I actually took a little nap. So guys, I woke up like this too. How about that? Anyway, so I want to talk to you guys about getting in a peak state. I want to talk to you guys about getting in a peak state because I want you guys to leave with so much while you're here. But if you leave with anything, in addition to being in Creator's Light, I want you to know how to get yourself optimized and in a peak state where you are operating at 110%, but it doesn't feel like it requires that much energy, where it feels like this is just your natural state of being. Okay. So, we're going to talk about this. Okay. So, first, we're going to talk about how to set it up, and then we're going to talk in deep dive on it just a little bit. Okay. So, number one, and honestly, this is the most important thing, is setting up a routine. Setting up a morning routine that sets you up to have the best, most successful day. Those first 30 minutes to 60 minutes in your day are so imperative to the day that you're going to create moving forward, as well as how you're going to show up, who you're going to show up as, what you're going to be able to perceive and receive in your reality. Because again, we can't think beyond what we feel. Both Judy and David talked about miracles today. That's because they were in an open state of being able to perceive and witness those miracles. Was today really any different than any other day? In ways, no, right? So we have to be able to witness and perceive them. And based on where our emotional state is what we will or will not be able to perceive. So a daily routine that sets you up for success. So my question to you guys is, are you setting yourself up to have an amazing day? Are you guys setting yourself up to have an amazing day? And I don't want this to worry you. I see some little bit like worrisome faces. It doesn't have to be this huge, grandiose thing, right? So, my morning, just to give you ideas, this is the only reason why I'm sharing this. So, my morning routine, after I look at my phone, because I wake up so early in the morning, I have to have that blue light. I get up, and of course there's rest days when I go to the gym, when I don't go to the gym. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I either go to the gym or I come down here and stretch, right? When I am stretching or working out, I am listening to something that talks about where I'm going, what I want. So not only am I getting my physical conditioning, but my mental conditioning as well. I'm listening to people in the field talk about, experts in the field talk about things that I want, talk about how to run a successful business, how to be in your own peak state, how to develop at really high levels. I'm constantly, first thing in the morning, I'm immersing myself in both physical and mental conditioning. So I would recommend in the morning moving your body in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't have to be full out going to the gym, but a walk, a stretch. Stretching is so nice in the morning, guys. Find something. And then after that, After I exit the gym, after I finish my stretching, I always go into a mini gratitude practice. It doesn't have to be 15 minutes. It can be, I'd recommend it be, but it doesn't have to be 15 minutes. After I hit the gym, I sit in my car, I put my hands on my heart and I thank Creator for everything I have now. And then I thank Creator for everything that's coming to me in advance, but as though I have it now. Okay. Gratitude itself has healing properties, like healing properties for the body. The more gratitude you have, the more elevated you feel, the more you are able to perceive and witness those miracles and those changes in your life, those upgrades in your life. And then I come home with the kids and start my day, right? But I set myself up every morning to be on an elite level because this is going to be fucking world class. I think it is world class already, but this is going to be world class. Okay? So I am conditioning myself to get there, what I want. So are you guys setting yourself up for success? And success doesn't have to obviously look the same way as mine does. But what is success to you? How will you know that you have reached success? Is it that you find peace at the end of your day? Is it that you feel more confident than you were yesterday? Is it that you were able to authentically and humbly stand up for yourself in self-respect and then receiving that back? Right? So define what is success for you. Maybe you're able to get through the day without any negative thinking dragging you down. I wrote these things down and I think they're absolutely, some of them I've heard, some of them I've made up, but so many people want success, but no one wants structure, right? Routine is in the structure. In that structure, you find your freedom. So many people want security, but don't want to do the things required to ensure security. Most people want to be a beast, right? But they're afraid to do what beasts do, right? So many people want joy and happiness, but aren't willing to drop the habits, beliefs, patterns that keep them unhappy. We're going to dive into that today. So what is your morning routine that sets you up for success? You look at the most successful people in the world. They all have a morning routine to get them in alignment, to get them laser focused on where they're going, what they're doing, who they get to help today. If I just woke up and was like, oh yeah, let's just do this thing. Do you think it'd be like a different Haley showing up? You guys would not be getting what you get here. It is my responsibility to make sure that I am aligned so that I can help take care of all of you, nurture and love all of you. It's intense, it's specific. And I'm telling you, there's multiple gears that move a clock. And it's with each tick that moves the clock too. So first you start your morning routine, and it's all of those small little things that add up to a really big thing. It's the small things. It doesn't have to be massive, okay? So just take a second to reflect. I know, Jordan, you're pretty rock solid on this, but take a second to reflect on how you can use your morning to set you up for success. I used to not get up until like 7 o'clock. Training myself to get up at 4:30, that was a choice. It's not normal for me. So maybe you carve out time earlier in the day, right? How bad do you want your dream? This is what it really boils down to. How badly, how hungry are you to make an impact on people's lives? How hungry are you to live your dreams and have the love of your life, have that financial freedom, have that dream purpose, that dream career, have that calling that is in the vehicle of a business? How hungry are you? Or peace in your home, right? How hungry are you? So our second one is our identity. Okay, this is so important. It is the associations you have about yourself. It is the way that you think and feel and perceive yourself. Now, Ed Milet has a brilliant way of describing this. So this is not my own, this is from Ed Milet. He says that your identity is the thermostat of your life. Okay, we have different identities. We have an identity with work. We have an identity with money. We have an identity with relationships. We have an identity with ourselves. We have multiple identities with ourselves and how and who we show up as, right? So Ed Milet says that identity is the thermostat. I can feel you guys, I'm losing you. Stay with me. I would not be regurgitating this information if it wasn't going to change your effing life. Okay? I'm serious about this. So Ed Milet has said that your identity is the thermostat of your life. So it doesn't matter what the weather is outside of the house or the room. If the temperature is set for 75 degrees, it will always remain at 75 degrees. So now if you take a look at your identity and the one facet of your life that you want to change, whether it be health, whether it be money, whether it be relationships, whether it be business, what is your identity associated to that? Do you identify as unhealthy? Do you identify as single? Do you identify as one who has to struggle for finances and money? How do you identify with the one thing that you want, that you're here to work towards? That is your thermostat. So even if you make some leaps, even if you grow a little bit, if your identity is still associated at those lower levels, then it's going to bring it back down and you're going to unconsciously sabotage what you're creating. Identity upgrades are everything. They're everything. They are a declaration of who you are, what you stand for, and what you want. If you're, I can't stress this enough, guys. It's time to raise the thermostat. Instead of saying, let's see, instead of saying something like, let's see, an identity. Okay, health is coming up. So if you identify as an unhealthy person, then that is what you're going to unconsciously create and attract, right? So if you start to tell yourself, even though the evidence isn't there yet, it's okay that the evidence isn't there yet. The material world takes time to catch up. Okay, if you start to see and feel yourself as healthy, what does it feel like? What does a healthy person look and feel like on a day-to-day basis? Put yourself in their shoes, because then you are literally changing your cellular memory. You are literally changing, guys, I think it's like our body, we have a new body like every 18 months or something like that. Don't quote me, but I know that we have a new body like every 18 months or something like that, something crazy short. So if you took all of this shit that I'm taking to you guys seriously, imagine where you would be in 18 months, even 6 months. The thing is you got to crawl out of what you're in first. That's the trick. You got to be more resilient than the climb of that mountain. And you got to be laser focused on what you want. It is non-negotiable, has to show up at your doorstep. Do you hear the passion, guys? Do you see the conviction? It's essential. It's essential. I would not be telling you stuff that did not work, because I'm not here to blow smoke up your skirts. Okay, I'm here to change your effing life. Okay? So how do we upgrade our identity? Jordan, you're like right smack in the middle. It's awesome. So How do we upgrade our identity? Okay. First of all, our associations, who we associate with. David, it's so funny that earlier today you posted your commentary about the song and about breaking the system. I forgot the exact name, but you said, show me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. Exactly. We don't realize it, but the people that we associate ourselves with are a mirror of our identity, and also they feed that identity. So if you're working at a job that you hate and then you go out for beers later and you're sitting there talking about how the world sucks, how your boss sucks, and how you guys will never find your way out of this, what is everybody's identity? If you are working with people who are just a few steps above you, if you are working and talking with people that are going in the direction you're going, automatically, unconsciously, you are upgrading your identity. So choose who you're listening to. The 5 people that you spend the most time with will show you where you're going to wind up being. So make smart decisions about who you're associating with, who you want to connect with, who inspires you, who moves you. If you want to get healthy, talk to healthy people, not other people who are still struggling. We love them. They need that help, but where are you going? How do they take care of themselves? What do they think about themselves? What do they think about their body? What do they think about their organs and all of this stuff? What do they think about food? They have an identity that they eat healthy or are healthy, whatever have you, but talk to people and submerge yourself, immerse yourself in people that talk about where you are going and where you want to go. It'll upgrade your identity. And then when that drops down past 50, past 75%, you're like, oh, I refuse to go down there. I refuse to go below 75 degrees. And actually, you're like, holy shit, I worked my way up to 100 degrees. I refuse to go back down to 75 degrees. The people that you spend the most time with will tell you where you're going to go. So choose wisely. So the second thing to upgrading your identity is what you're consuming. You guys hear me talk about this? I will talk about this till I am blue in the face. Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? What music are you listening to that could be programming you for things that you don't want? I love that Brenna says that we have soulless music nowadays because it's so true. What does music talk about nowadays? Modern music, sex, drugs, alcohol, escapism. So then what are we programming ourselves to crave, desire, and want? What about back in the 60s and 70s and 80s when they talked about real stuff like life? Like, how about falling in love? Like going out there and being strong, going out there and being resilient, going out there and chasing your dreams. It's so important. And guys, the thing is that it's so effortless. Literally, I'm at the gym and I'm doing 2 different things at once. I put on my makeup and I put on my soundtrack of awesome, and I'm listening to songs that get me in that peak state. Because that peak state is where you can be creative, fluid, be able to manifest, be inspired, be motivated, be able to heal. It's going to take effort. Again, think about the whirlpool example, okay? A circular pool, the current is going one way. You are met with the most resistance when you decide to initially change the current. If you can get over that steepest part of the hill, if you can just overcome that strong current, eventually it will be more effortless. And then eventually that's the way that it spins. And also I want to say, in addition to this, think about it like think of an analogy of like the people who know how to spin plates, right? They have it on a little thing and the plate is spinning, right? So they get the first plate spinning. You guys know what I'm talking about? Let me know that you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So the first plate is spinning, right? And so once they get that going, then they move on to the next one. So this one only requires maintenance, right? It's not like you have to it's not like you have to start over with the routine process. It's spinning, so it just requires some maintenance. Sometimes it requires attention while you focus on this. And then you get two plates spinning, and then it's like boom, like this, right? And it's like spin, spin, working on it. And then eventually it just becomes who you are. It just becomes who you are. But you got to get past that first steep climb. The first climb is steep. But just because it's steep does not mean it's impossible. It's available to you. You just have to climb. And again, guys, the reason why we do or do not do things is either one, our belief in them, whether they are worth our time, whether we believe that we can do it, or I know this, it just slipped my mind. Our why. Hey, Judy, is it okay if you put yourself on mute? That's okay. Thank you. It's all right. Um, our why. Why? Guys, I draw the fucking line here, okay? The why is everything. The why is everything. Like the example I use with fighter fighters. Do you think that they enjoy going into a burning building to go save a life? Well, they go to save life, but do you enjoy like in their okay, Haley, in their free time, do they go into burning buildings? No. There is a person on the other side who needs their help. All of you, in some way, shape, or form, there are people out there looking for you. There are people looking out there for you because you only know what they have gone through on an intimate level. Nobody understands them. You guys know what it feels like to feel alone. You guys know what it feels like to question yourself and doubt yourself with every step moving forward. If you didn't find a special person in your life to help you, where would your life be? There are people, I say this, I know it's a little bit uncomfortable. I know it's a little bit uncomfortable. But there are people waiting for you to step up. There are people waiting for you to share your genius, to share your message. The purpose, the why is so important. Why do you want to do what you do? Why is it non-negotiable that you do what you do? Why is it so important? I'm telling you guys, your why should have this gravitational pull of its own where sometimes people think you're insane. They're like, wait, you're still trying that? You're like, fuck yeah, I'm still trying. I'm not trying it, motherfucker. I'm doing it. Right? Yes, I do cuss. My kids are doing it now. That's interesting. So, so, I think, I know that there have been so many times where I've questioned myself, doubted myself, wondered, is it time to surrender? Is it time to wave the white flag and just let this go? Is it that this is not meant to be? Imagine if I did that. Imagine. Just because it's challenging, just because it's hard, does not mean that it's not meant for you. It is a test. You are being handcrafted. I know sometimes it sucks, okay? You are being handcrafted to be the person that you are meant to be, that you were destined to be, and also the person that those people need. Handcrafted. It is not an accident. It's not an accident. It's happening for you, not to you. Okay? Your why. It's everything. It's the only reason why you move forward sometimes. And then last thing, confidence. Upgrading your identity is associated with confidence, which is actually what we're about to dive into. Okay? So and like last thing I want to say about identity, okay? You don't get what you want. You get what your standards are. Excellence is a habit. Yes, David. Yes. Excellence is a habit. Just like healing is a habit. Just like upgrading is a habit. Excellence is a habit. You don't get what you want, you get what your standards are. So what are your standards that you are settling for? I would ask yourself that question. What are these standards that you are settling for? And then match what you want and raise your standards. And refuse to have anything less. Refuse to have anything less. Sometimes you got to will what you want. It's okay to tell the universe. See, we forget that in telling the universe what we want, we forget that we also need to be crystal clear as what we don't want. I refuse to live at a 75 degree. I will live with 100 degrees. I operate at 120 degrees all the time. And when I'm down, I love on myself so that I can get back up to that 120. Right? So what are the standards that you need to raise? And it doesn't need to be this chokehold. It doesn't need to be this, you fucked up kind of way. It's just an honest inventory of where you're going, what you want, and the bridge that needs to be made in order to get there. That's it. Because you guys have not messed up in any way. Okay? So, confidence. This quote here too. You don't get down on what others say about you. You get down by what you say about you. When other people say things to you and you take them personally, it's either because you believe it to be true about yourself, either consciously or unconsciously, or it's an unhealed aspect of yourself. What they're saying has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you. It's like the reel I posted the other day. If I have anger and I give you my anger, but you do not accept it or receive it, whose anger is it? It's still mine. It's only when you accept my anger that it triggers yours, and now you're angry. Right? Jordan was a brilliant demonstration of this today. So let's really, my definition of confidence is the belief in oneself, the belief in one's ability to do it. Now, we all have different thresholds for this, right? There are some called I love that, Jordan. That's funny. But we all have different thresholds for this, right? So some of us feel like we need to know more information in order to move forward. And some of us feel like, oh, I got this. Let's do it. And then sometimes we learn the hard way, right? We have to have that balance threshold of knowing that you do know enough And then also being open and receptive to learning more and being okay with mistakes. Okay? So it's belief in oneself and ability to do it. Now, how do you build confidence? So number one is you keep the promises you make to yourself, bottom line. If you say you're going to go for a walk in the morning, I know you don't feel like it, but I promise you, you will pay for it later. When you are beating yourself up, which you shouldn't, but when you are beating yourself up saying, I know I should have done it, and it's not because Haley told me to, it's not because somebody else told me to, it's simply because I know what it cost me not to go for a walk. And there's a fragmentation process that happens when you don't follow through on your word. When I know that I should be doing a cutting diet and I'm like, let's go get Chick-fil-A, guess what happens? My soul feels that. My soul feels that. And then I go through the whole pattern. Oh, we should be doing this. And, you know, I have my own patterns, obviously. But like, oh, we should be doing this. Why did we do this? We do this every time. But the reason why we lose trust in ourselves is because we didn't see what we said through. That's right, Sarah. 100%. 100%. And it can even be the small things, guys. Like the fact that all I have is my own examples, but like even on days that I do facial exercises, right? Like, you know, you see on Instagram, who gives a fuck? I do them, okay? And even on days that I'm tired, I'm like, I know I have to do this. I know I have to do this because if I don't, I know how I'll feel about myself when I lay down. And see, guys, it's not even about the thing that you're doing. It's about the fact that you're doing it for you, right? So you have to keep the promises that you make to yourself. You do the things that you don't like with pride. You do the things that you don't like with almost like you love them. If you're like, I hate taking out the garbage, but you know what? I'm going to be the best fucking person that takes out this garbage. I am going to take out the garbage. I'm going to throw its ass in that dumpster or that can, and it's not going to know what happened to it. Right? So even the things you don't like doing, you do with an excellence mindset, with a badassery mindset. Everything that you do, you're a badass. Okay? Yeah, picking up dog shit. You know what? I'm gonna fucking blow some people's minds with the way I can pick up some dog shit. You know, I'm not fucking around. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I know it's funny, but I'm not joking. Because confidence happens when we just push right outside ourselves. When we start to get uncomfortable, you're meeting the edges. You're meeting the edges of the old version of you, right? And so if you're usually out there like, I hate picking up dog shit, and you go out there and you're like, you know what? I'm going to make this fun. And then you know what? Who knows who might be like, wait, why is she having so much fun? What is she doing that's different? Right? And then maybe you could like lure them into doing it, right? But what I'm saying is, is that whatever you do, even if you don't like it, you do it at your best, because when you do it at your best, you build confidence in yourself. You're like, I am resilient. I am strong. I can kick some ass. Today is January 31st. I'm going to kick January 31st ass. It's not going to know what happened to it. Right? And see, you guys are already smiling and laughing. It feels good, right? It feels good. It might seem silly, but it feels good. So even the things that you don't do, Or even the things that you don't like doing, do them with pride, do them with joy, do them with happiness, do them with excitement. Okay? So the power of one more. Again, this is yes. Yes, David. So the power of one more, this is also Ed Milet. This is not mine, but I fully believe in it. Okay? When you do just one more, again, when you stretch yourself, we have a foundational, fundamental human need for growth. When we don't feel like we're growing, we feel stagnant, and that's where a disconnect happens. We have a fundamental human need for growth. So the more that you are pushing out the edges of your old self, the more confidence that you're going to build because you're actually pursuing something. You're actually pursuing something, even if it is just picking up the dog shit with a ton of joy. Right? Right? So the power of one more. Of course, Ed Milet talks about, the power of one more rep in the gym or one more phone call or one more I love you. But in relation to us and what we're doing here, what if you just did one more meditation? What if you just did one more belief stack? What if you just did one more clearing? What if you just did one more visualization? If you just visualized twice a day, doesn't have to be, guys, it doesn't have to be like this huge thing. You could just sit there for a second with your eyes closed and connect to your future. Okay? Literally, it can take 30 seconds. And when you feel it, that's when you know you're connected. Okay? But if we just did one more visualization than we did yesterday, if we just did 2 visualizations a day, let's just say that visualizing once a day will get you 50% of where you want to go in a year. If you visualize twice a day, you'll get there 100%, 50% more, so 100% in 1 year. You people who speak math, you know what the hell I'm trying to say. I don't pretend I math well, right? So also, guys, this just came through. We also have to be clear. Yes, we want to know what makes us happy, but we also want to know what doesn't make us happy. When we can identify what does not make us happy, then we can choose to avoid it or find a healthier way to process it and reframe it. So we want to be crystal clear on what does not make us happy. Again, we want to ask the universe for what we do want, but also we want to tell the universe what we refuse to live with, what we refuse to coexist with. I refuse, right? So it's just as important to know what makes you happy and also what does not make you happy. So that would be another thing I would take the time to jot down is what does not make you happy. Okay. Also, doing the things that you know you're good at builds your confidence. People say focus on, so there's a difference between focusing on areas where you desire to improve, not need to improve, but desire to improve versus areas that you know you're not good at. Yes, that's true, Sarah. Yes. When we focus, like, let's say math for me, right? Because now we all know that I'm bad at math. Not bad, just it's not my thing. But if I went out there, I'm like, I'm going to be a mathematician. Maybe I could do it, but am I going to struggle and grind through it? Guys, sometimes we're not hardwired for certain things, and that's okay. I can't retain crystal information for the life of me. I love them. They're all over my office. I forget 95% of what they do. But does that make me a bad energy healer? Absolutely fucking not. Okay? So pursue the things that you know that you are good at. Pursue the things you know you are good at. And then lastly, I will stand by this till the day that I die. Get yourself dressed. Like, guys, really get yourself dressed. Like, Catherine, you look amazing today. And I noticed yesterday too, you had your hair down and it looked so nice. And that's because you were feeling better. Right now, today, you're feeling better. Guys, you don't have to get like tuxedo or all dressed up in a gown and all that shit, obviously. But when you take the time to get yourself dressed, not only is it a form of self-care, and it says I'm proud of myself, not in a prideful way, but that I take care of myself. Because also, guys, the external is a reflection of how we're feeling on the inside, right? Get yourself dressed. Think about times when you have gotten dressed up because you know you're going out somewhere. How did you feel when you got dressed up? You probably felt amazing. You were like, I got a whole new energy. I got a whole new vibe, right? Take the time to get yourself dressed. I don't care if you're just staying at home. Take the time to get yourself dressed. Okay, so 4, our patterns. Okay, I want to talk about that, but at a deeper level. Because, yeah, we have our thought patterns. Yeah, and all of those things, but I want to talk about our patterns at a deeper level. So, our patterns are connected to our 6 human needs. You'll come across this in week 3 if you haven't already. So we have the need for certainty and stability. Those are both 1. So certainty that it's going to work, certainty that we're secure, that it's going to work out, right? We have a human need for, we can see you again, Sarah. It's okay. We have another human need for variety. We have a human need for things to be different, for things to be spontaneous, for things to be different. We have a human need for significance, knowing that we are significant, knowing that people perceive us as significant, that we are significant in people's lives. We have a human need for love and connection. We have a strong human need for love and connection. We want to feel like we're a part of something. We want to feel like there's people out there who love and adore us and accept us and value us, right? We have a 5th human need for growth. It's a fundamental human need, growth. And our last one is contribution. We all want to contribute somehow, okay? So when you think about your patterns, and the things that you do, the habits that you have, get curious as to what human need am I trying to fill? What human need am I trying to fill? I'll give you a great example. For me, one of my patterns is I wonder if I'm doing enough. I always wonder if I'm doing enough. Every time we get off the call with you guys, at one point in the night, I'm like, Lou, I want to make sure that they're getting what they need. I want to make sure, how do I know that they are leaving these calls with everything that they need? And that's a pattern. So where is that coming from? That's coming from the need of certainty and also probably significance, right? And also contribution. But then I catch myself in that pattern of wondering if I am doing enough. And I realize that triggers this space of force in me. And so I have to let go. And so where can I find my certainty? Somewhere else that is more beneficial, more healthy, right? So and a great indicator of your patterns are the emotional states that you primarily live and exist in. So do you primarily live under stress, scarcity, not feeling like you're enough, sabotage, frustration, panic, anxiousness, or maybe thrills, maybe excitement, right? So those emotions are tied to a human need that you are trying to fill. And so once you can identify which human need it is, most of us have a human need for certain, like that's one of our strong, we usually have 2 really strong ones. We usually have 2 primary human needs. If you can connect what you're doing, becoming the observer that is observing you, and you can connect your pattern, your thought process, your emotion to the human need you're trying to fill, then you can replace it with something healthier, something more beneficial. Okay? So then my question, just like briefly, what are your, so actually here, I actually wrote down a little exercise. We have time. I'm going till the 30 mark. So want you guys to just reflect, and if you have a notebook, write it down. What is the primary emotion that you felt in the last 48 hours? And then what did you do to what? So then which human need is it? Is it certainty? Is it variety? Is it significance? Is it love and connection? Is it growth? Or is it contribution? Usually the first four, certainty, variety, significance, and love and connection, that's our primary four. So which human need were you trying to fill with that emotion? And then what habit, what thought pattern, what behavior did you do to fill that human need? All right, last one. And then we'll wrap this up. Okay? This is one of my most favorite subjects, and it's conditioning. Conditioning, 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 you guys. It really does. It 1,000, you could not change my mind, separates those who do get what they want and who don't. It does separate those who see real, measurable changes in their life and who doesn't. Because we think between 60 to 70,000 of the thoughts that we have are the same as they were yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So then what are you compiling? What are you creating? The thing is, guys, is you are already thinking about something anyway, and it requires just as much effort to think about something new rather than what you're already thinking about, right? It just takes effort and focus to change our thoughts. If you want change, the only thing we have to master here is our minds. That is it. When we master, I use that word lightly because we're always evolving. But if we master this, our mind, the world is our oyster. We can do anything. If you want to change your tomorrow, see, the thoughts that you are thinking today are a result of what you were thinking yesterday. So if you want a different tomorrow, you have to think differently today. And how is this done? Conditioning. The way an athlete conditions his body is the same way that you should condition your mind. And it doesn't have to be complicated. So, conditioning does not have to be complicated. It really doesn't. I give you guys just like the listening to what you want to feel, listening to where you're going. Listening is the most effortless way to change your thoughts. And also you have to be specific about what you refuse to listen to. I'm sure most of us by now have detached from the news, right? That is a toxic cesspool. Fear-mongering, right? We refuse to listen to the news, right? Because what you're hearing, the thing is, guys, is you're being programmed anyway. The truth is that you are being programmed with something anyway. It is your choice what you are going to receive and let in, right? So what are you listening to? Either music or people talking. Okay, choose your program. That's right. That's right. Also, visualization. Guys, your subconscious mind is so subjective that it doesn't know what's real and what's not when you're imagining things. So when you're thinking about how healthy you are, when you're thinking about how abundant you are, when you're thinking about how much you're a clear channel, the brain, the subconscious mind doesn't see it as any different. It thinks you're living it. And so then it's like after you visualize it, you are unconsciously operating from that space. Now reality happens. Now people show up in our life, and that means that we have to condition it harder. There's people who won't believe in what you're doing. And that's when you have to condition it harder. That's where belief stacks come in. 100 reasons why I'm going to succeed. 100 reasons why I'm going to get healthy. 100 reasons why I'm going to be the best goddamn animal communicator on the planet. Right? Belief stack it. Yes, belief stack it. Write down 100 reasons why it's going to happen. Write down if you're pursuing, so let's say, okay, we'll just use you, David. So musician, right? 100 reasons why I am the most amazing musician, and then 100 reasons why I should be on every single stage. And then also, because sometimes we need to release any insecurities about competition, right? So then 100 reasons why they aren't as good as you are, and not in a way to put them down, but in a way to like see yourself in the light that you deserve to see yourself in. Does that make sense? Like, yes, yep, David, absolutely. Belief stack it. Stack those beliefs because things are true or not true based on the evidence that we give them. So choose the truth that you want to live, and then belief stack the shit out of that. If you have to do it every day for a week, you do it every day for a week. Guys, there have been belief stacks that I have done over and over and over and over and over. So, hypnosis and meditation. Again, it's so easy, guys. It doesn't have to, you could do it, choose to do it before you go to sleep. Even if you fall asleep with your headphones in your ears, it's okay. Hypnosis, you're literally just sitting there doing nothing and visualizing or hearing what is coming through the speakers. That's it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. So, as you guys know, I am one of the only people to have a real conversation with you. You may have people in your life you can have real conversations with, but I am here to call you out when it's time to be called out, right? So we're going to do just a very brief exercise, and I want you guys to play along. It's not going to be fun, may not be pleasant, but we need to come to grips with reality. And I'm doing this because I love you. And I'm doing this because I want what's best. I want you to have everything that you want. I want you to have everything that you want. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a cleansing breath. Release expectations. So I want you to backtrack for a second. If you started implementing the routine, the identity upgrades, the confidence, identifying the patterns and conditioning them, if you started implementing these things 5 years ago, where would you be today? Where would you be today? So I don't say this to hurt you. But that time is already lost. It's done. You don't get it back. So now close your eyes again. I want you to fast forward. If you start implementing all of this now, seriously, with conviction and belief, who would you be in 5 years from today? Who would you be in 5 years if you had a solid routine that made sure that you were in a peak state? Who would you be if you were upgrading your identity and having stronger I am conversations with yourself? Who would you be if you were taking care of yourself, getting yourself dressed, following through on the promises that you need to keep to yourself? Doing the things that you don't like doing with great pride? Who would you be if you were able to identify the patterns that are keeping you small, that are keeping you fragmented, and upgrading them and changing them? Who would you be if we conditioned this new way of being? Who will you be in 5 years? What is possible for you in 5 years if you take this shit seriously? And now I'm going to ask you one last question. Close your eyes again. Who are you going to be if you don't do this in 5 years? It's uncomfortable, I know. Who won't you be if you don't do this? That's what's on the line, guys. We think we have time. We don't. And I'm not saying this again to hurt you. I'm saying this because I want what you want for yourself. That's right, Sarah. You say that you want these things. You tell me on calls that you want these things. I want you to have them. I want you to have them, guys. But you have to put in the work every day. I'm going to get emotional. There are two versions of you in the future. One of them's going to thank you, and one of them's going to look back and say, why? Why didn't I do it? So, my closing thoughts on this conversation: take it seriously. Because, like I tell you guys all the time, this is not a program. This is not about working with me. This program is a mirror of your commitment to change your life. That's right, Jordan. This mirror is a program to your commitment to changing your life and nothing more. Maybe it comes through the vehicle of this, but this is not about me. This is not about this program. This is not about what I talk about or what I teach. This is about you guys and the way that you show up for yourselves. Sorry, I'm just filled with so much gratitude. You got to do this. You don't have a choice. Well, you do. But which one are you going to make?